Hey guys, I just got off a great coaching call where I was coached, and I wanted to share what I took away from it because I think it's obviously, I wouldn't be on here if I didn't think it was helpful. But we have these moments, all of us, where we think, okay? Actually, every moment, we're always thinking. We are not always aware of our thoughts, but we are always thinking, whether it be conscious or subconscious thoughts. And I was getting coached over some old thoughts that were not helpful thoughts that I labeled as negative thoughts that were not serving me, that were super present in my life the past years. And I noticed them creeping back in. And I do a lot of self-coaching around this. And I wanted to talk to my coach about it because I needed to work it out and hear that different perspective. And what came up in this call was, I felt so in it. And when I say I feel so in it, what I mean by that is I have this thought, a thought that I know doesn't serve me if I'm watching my brain, if the best version of myself and gets to choose the best thoughts that are going to make me the happiest and the most successful and the most loving and the most kind. If that Emily is watching me, that Emily would say, no, throw that thought away. But that Emily's not there when I feel so lost in my emotion of frustrated and annoyed and disappointed. Those were the emotions that I was feeling. And they were coming from these thoughts that I used to really, really believe as true. And because I had done so much work to unbelieve those thoughts, and the fact that they were coming back made me so frustrated and mad at myself because I was starting to believe them a little bit. I was questioning them, but I felt they were true again. And what was so helpful in this coaching session that I just had was this simple idea that just because a thought feels easy to believe, because it so easily comes to your mind, does not make it true. So let me repeat that. Just because a thought so easily, so automatically comes to your mind does not make it true, but it makes you think it's easier to believe. So the same goes for the other way around, right? Just because a thought is hard for you to think because you haven't practiced it enough, because it doesn't come easily to you to think of, doesn't mean that it's not true. So let me give you some examples, okay? The basic one that most of us can relate to, like, no, I'm not enough, or I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough. We all have had similar thoughts, or you choose a thought that you feel you really believe. And the reason we believe it so much is because we've practiced it so many times, it's automatic. And when things are automatic, they're easy. And normally when things come easily, we just believe them, right? Like if it's very easy for me to turn on a light switch. I can turn on a light switch. Super easy thought, feels very true because I've done it so many times in my life. Boom, I believe it's true. Okay, that's an odd example, but I'm not smart enough, right? Or I'm not a good coach, or I'm not attractive, or, right? So thoughts like that, when they start sneaking back up, I feel like, whoa, that came so easily. It must be true. But if I have this thought, just because the thought is easy doesn't mean it's true. Just because the thought comes easily doesn't make it true. And it puts me back in this place of curiosity where I can examine my thoughts. So I want you guys to think of some of those thoughts that come so easily to you that you believe are true, but you don't want to believe anymore. Like, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not desired, I'm not giving enough, I'm not generous enough, right? All of those things are thoughts about your partner or your boss, like they're so inconsiderate, they never listen to me, like things like that make you feel horrible, that you don't want to believe anymore, but they feel so true because they come so easily. So I want to challenge you to think of the thought that doesn't come easily, that counters that. Okay, so I am smart enough, I am good enough, he always listens to me, he's so considerate, she's so considerate, I'm so generous, I'm so loving, I'm so wanted, I'm so loved. Okay, if those don't come easily to you, I just want you to take on this idea that the only reason they're not coming easily to you is because you have not practiced them enough. And so they're gonna feel untrue. They're gonna feel like you don't believe them because they weren't easy for you to do. But as it gets easier, as you practice it more, it becomes more believable. And this really helped me today. It really helped me separate, like, okay, those old negative or unhelpful thoughts are coming back because they were on automatic repeat. So when a circumstance happens that reminds me of those negative thoughts, they come so easily. I'm like, oh my gosh, here it goes again. But it feels true. It must be true. The thought came so easily, right? And I spin. And this is so helpful. Just because the thought comes easily doesn't make it true. Unless it serves you, right? Unless you want to believe it's true. But I know well enough that those old thoughts do not serve me. So I hope this is helpful. Practicing new belief systems, new thoughts that serve you are going to feel untrue in the beginning. But the more you practice them, the more you'll believe them, the more you'll become them. And that's kind of my takeaway with this. So I hope you found it helpful, and do this little exercise with figuring out these thoughts that don't serve you, question them, recognize they're easy only because you've practiced them so much, and know that new thoughts that you want to believe that feel hard doesn't mean they're not true. You just need to practice them more. Okay.